Hey everybody, welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday for the last Friday of 2024. Uh, it's been a long day for me. I'm sure it may have been one for you as well. But I hope it's been a good day. And we're going to jump into some news and do a Bible reading and all the stuff I normally do. Forgive the fact that this is coming late at night. Um, I had a family obligation that required my attention for almost the entire day. So it was either do it at 4 o'clock in the morning or do it now. And so you can see which one won the option. But we're going to jump into some news in just a minute and head right on into it because I don't want to keep y'all that are going to watch this live up too late or occupied too late. And yeah. So pulling up our news notes for the week. Lots to go over. And yeah, but either way, I hope you've had a Merry Christmas. I hope you've had some good experience throughout the week and that has been a blessing for you. And that you're heading into the new year with a little bit of hope, a little bit of encouragement, and that regardless of how your Christmas went in terms of celebrations, that you are in a place that you can be grateful for what God's done in your life. So, that being said, let's jump right in with some news. So, first off, uh, and I'm not sure if I covered this one last week or not. Um, During the filming of Mr. Beast's reality show, they broke 40 world records um, filming the throughout the course of their reality show. So there's a new Mr. Beast reality show. It's a big gain. I think they had 5,000 competitors in it, and in the process of filming it, they broke 40 Guinness World Records, and they already have all the plaques and everything to show for it. So that's a pretty neat endeavor. Now, there has also been a handful of lawsuits and shenanigans that went along with that, some stuff that happened, but in the end, I think that it's going to be regarded as a good thing, even though there's some uh, disdain with it. And in considering a lot of the other stuff that's going on in the world, I don't think that Mr. Beast is going to be the one to take the biggest hit for stuff. If you are a fan of the HBO series White Lotus, or a fan of Walter Coggins, who plays or Coggins, yeah, who plays Boyd Crowder in Justified and a million other roles. Um, that is going to premiere on HBO Max on February 16th. So if you are a fan of either of those things, you're going to have a chance to check out some cool stuff coming up on Valentine's Day weekend. That's also the same weekend that Captain America Brave New World drops. Um, yes, I think I reported on that one last week. Uh, there is something I never thought I'd be reported saying is there is a sequel movie coming to the Mercy Me movie, I Can Only Imagine. A while back, there was a big screen adaptation of the story of the band of Mercy Me and their song I Can Only Imagine. Well, now a sequel to I Can Only Imagine is coming out, and it is creatively called I Can Only Imagine 2. Surprise, because what else would you call a sequel to I Can Only Imagine? And where it gets a little more interesting, the first movie had Dennis Quaid in it. Um, this one is going to have also Milo, Vincent McGill, yeah, I'm not going to say his name wrong. Milo. Uh, you might remember him as one of the boyfriends from Gilmore Girls or one of the main dudes from Heroes. or he most recently starred on the dramatic series This Is Us. He also played Rocky's kid in like maybe Rocky 5 or something. But either way, he's going to be starring as Christian music artist Tim Timmons, who is a real person. But they're getting some kind of heavy hitters in the, I can only imagine, sequel. Um, and just fun news, the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow gifted his entire offensive lineman authentic Japanese katana swords. And each one came from it, each sword came with its own story and a history of the battles it was involved in. Um, that's better than socks. That's a pretty great thing. Stranger Things season 5 has officially wrapped filming, and we can, if you're still hanging on to the ride of getting to Stranger Things season 5, you can look forward to it. But they've officially wrapped filming on the series, so that is in the bag. Um, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but Party City is going out of business. The retail conglomerate that supplies balloons and Halloween costumes and decorations of all kinds are officially going out of business. Hey, Kelly, happy Friday night. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah, Party City is going out of business. Um, there is as I reported a few times in the past couple months, there's a live action Masters of the Universe movie coming. With so far, we've seen that Allison Brie, who is from the show Glow and Community, BoJack Horseman, and a few other things, is playing Evil Lynn, and that Idris Elba will be playing Man at Arms. This week, we got the news, and I don't know how to feel about it, but we got the news that Skeletor is going to be played by none other than Jared Leto. Does Jared Leto look like a mischievous skeleton? Yes. Yes, he does. Do I trust Jared Leto with a beloved nerd property? No. No, I don't. I've seen what he's done with the Joker. I've seen what he's done with Morbius. Um, and I just am not filled with confidence about the idea of him doing it. But I also know that he is capable of doing crazy, dark things. And honestly, his Joker was a little bit more like Skeletor than the Joker, so maybe he could pull it off. Um, I just want to hear "remember" like one of those PSA type things they do. But either way, Jared Leto will be cast as Skeletor. Um, in the spree of stuff that's going down in terms of uh fighting the power, air quotes, and things like that with what we've seen with the insurance companies and things like that. A young man attempted to also go down that road this week. Um, a influencer, Nick Fuentes, who leans far right on most things, shared footage of an armed man trying to get into his house. Um, and you know, in Illinois, this was in Berwyn, Illinois, and a man literally showed up in a bike helmet and sort of body armor with an armed weapon and attempted to break into this man's home, and it didn't work out for him. But it's just kind of that crazy of this is where we're heading with everything. So yeah, um, there has been a big hubbub this past week um, for Blake Lively in terms of the relationship with Justin Baldoni, who, if you haven't watched It Ends With Us, then you might know him from the TV series. He was Jane the Virgin. He was a main character with that, but he was the director and male lead in the film It Ends With Us, and Blake Lively has since sued him for sexual harassment. And there'll be a lot more in the notes going on throughout the week as it kind of progressed, but it's gone pretty crazy in the terms of the response to it. Now, allegations between co-stars and directors and things like that, that's not uncommon. That does happen. We see that all the time. But the overwhelming response in favor of Blake Lively has been uh, kind of heavier than what I would say you normally see. Um, Not only did the author of the book, the movie was based on Colleen Hoover, she came out in support of Blake. Blake or Justin Baldoni's uh, PR firm dropped him. His publicist dropped him. His publicist has also filed a lawsuit against him for blaming her for the smear campaign against Blake Lively. Um, and Justin also hosted a podcast called I want to say Man Enough, and his podcast co-host has since left him from that and says that we all deserve better. And he was the recipient of an award that was revoked upon these allegations. So there's a lot going down with that, and it's kind of been a buzz all week. And yeah, there's a lot going on with that. But there'll be some more notes as we go through the news with it. Um, I've mentioned almost every time I've done one of these an incident of a cyber truck, a cyber vehicle, a automated vehicle causing damage or a loss of lives. This past week, Tesla recalled 700,000 vehicles. That includes Cybertrucks, Model 3, Model Y vehicles, and it's the seventh recall of the year for Tesla. But it has not been a good look and a good response in terms of what's going on with Tesla um, throughout this week. And in a cool turn of events, though, that caused much less collateral damage. Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr actually got together to play together live um, for the final show of Paul McCartney's Got Back tour. And Ringo came out to play with Paul for the final night of his tour, and that's a big deal. There's only two Beatles left, and the fact that we got, we're around to see the two of them play together again, and that's a big deal. It seems more likely the Beatles will reunite before Outcast at this point, so I'm taking everything as it goes. Um, Sony Pictures put out a press release this week that the Attack on Titan um, finale will appear in theaters on February 26th. It's called Attack on Titan: The Last Attack, and it will arrive in theaters on February 26th. So if you've been part of this journey watching Attack on Titan unfold for about 3 decades now, you can go to theaters to watch the finale of it. Personally, I finished the manga like a long, long time ago. I probably won't be going to theaters to watch this, but I know there's some people who are going to really be about that life. Uh, Chance the Rapper this week filed for divorce. I'm sorry, Chance the Rapper's wife this week filed for divorce after they've been married for 5 years. Um, I can't imagine the life of a full-time musician being easy at all. But yeah, that happened this week. Um, Two of the biggest car companies in the world will be merging in the near future, providing that Supreme Court and other people don't, file for a monopoly against them. Honda and Nissan have officially begun uh, the process of merging into one company, which would make them the third largest automaker in the world since they are joining in that together. In wrestling news, the former WWE star slash fiance of Samantha Irvin, the very limber and vibrant Ricochet, has been getting a less than loving reception this week in the AEW world. Ricochet has, in his past few matches, been getting rolls of toilet paper thrown at him while he's in the ring. Um, People have been literally lobbing whole rolls of toilet paper at him, and to the point it stopped the match. And he's been trying to throw them back at the people, and the ref actually stopping him from doing that. But it's kind of chaos. I don't endorse or condone, throwing things at performers. The one time I went to a WWE event in my adult life, they wouldn't even let you have bottles for fear that you might throw them at people. So I get that this is a real thing across the board, but Ricochet is straight getting toilet papered while he's performing. Um, if you were one of the unfortunate folks that tried to travel on American Airlines on Christmas Eve, then you already know this, but American Airlines grounded all flights on Christmas Eve for a time period. There was a technical issue that left American Airlines with no choice but to literally ground all of their flights. Um, and at Christmas Eve, that's a seems like a legitimate nightmare, but that did happen. If y'all were part of that, I hope you've made it where you're going. Um, yeah. More Justin Baldoni notes, making sure. This week also, Hawaii's Kilauea. I'm going to butcher that. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted this week. Um, and it's one of the most active volcanoes in the world. And it erupted with lava fountains stretching more than 200 feet into the air and a plume of toxic gas that covered almost all of Hawaii. Um, and officials said that it might be going on for a while. Um, yeah, this past week, the Minnesota Vikings displayed one of the most unique touchdown, uh, touchdown celebrations of the NFL year. The Vikings did an entire choreographed bit from the movie Camp Rock. Um, uh, Yeah, they did a whole dance from the movie Camp Rock, and they even released later on in the week their rehearsal footage of them actually rehearsing the dance all together prior to that, and it literally played out like a scene from Ted Lasso. So the Vikings performed a Camp Rock dance. Um, and news didn't necessarily see coming this week. The 69-year-old juggernaut of an actor, Denzel Washington, um, officially started a new chapter on his life. Um, he got baptized on Sunday. Now, Denzel Washington's always been holding on to Jesus, um, but he took a turn to head hardcore for Jesus as of this Sunday. He got baptized at the Kelly Temple in New York City and got licensed as a minister. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's a quick turnaround to get baptized and licensed in the same day. On a ministerial stance, that's pretty chunky. But he got baptized and licensed on the same day, and that he is um, starting to move and shifting his career to being a full-time minister. He's still going to act in some things. In fact, recently he put out a list of the projects that he's got ahead of him, including Black Panther 3. But ministry is going to begin his full-time life. Uh, in Peru this week, uh, um, the Drug Enforcement Agency of Peru, along with local police, um, actually sent an officer dressed like the Grinch to do drug raids. Um, so they on their body cam footage and everything else, they literally have a Grinch, fully clad Grinch, doing drug arrests and seizures in Peru this week. Um, and I just want to be a part of the. I just want to see the reactions of juries that have to watch this body cam footage at some point in time for convictions. To just see a grown man dressed like a Grinch, like kicking in a door before clearing corners with a Glock. It's fun to see. The videos are online if you do want to check those out. Um, the award that Justin Baldoni had revoked was the Voices of Solidarity Award, um, which is basically a award for recognizing people who are promoting women and women's rights and feminism. And so that was revoked. Um, if you've been in a Sam's Club or a Costco or anything like that, you know that kind of towards the center of the entire store, there is a giant table of books. And it's been one of my favorite things about Sam's Club forever. I rarely make it into a Costco, but the same thing is true there. Costco has announced this week that it will no longer keep its island of books in the center of the store, and that moving forward, it's likely that books will only be coming out at holidays. Um, and I'm gonna just say this, y'all. Um, we're removing books at such an alarming rate. There's not a bookstore in my county. I live in the largest geographic county in North Carolina, and there's not a bookstore. Um, it Walmart is the only place you can buy books in my region. Just saying. And Costco is about to take a huge chunk out of that for their population. Um, Dustin Rhodes, brother of Cody Rhodes, son of Dusty Rhodes, announced this week that he signed a multi-year contract extension with the AEW and plans to finish his career in the AEW. Um, in a weird artistic and biological scenario, scientists have been studying the effects of classical music on cancer, and scientists have found that cancer cells that are subjected to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony are killed off 20% faster than cancer cells that are not exposed to it. So effectively, they've showed that listening to classical music specifically, um, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony actually can help destroy cancer. And not that it's going to clear it all out, but it's literally saying that it increases uh, the destruction of cancer cells by 20%. So that's not a bad little thing to have in the back of your hat for when you go through family that has cancer issues. Um, it tracks because it's also that they've shown that playing classical music for babies in the womb helps them develop. This also apparently helps them fight. Um, this past week in New Zealand at the Waikato Hospital, a prisoner named Damon Anderson, um, who was in the hospital, escaped the hospital and prison by going out the window of his hospital in just his underwear and managed to escape. Now, I don't know if he's been caught since this story broke, but this dude literally went to the hospital and escaped in just a pair of boxers, and managed to evade police and capture. So I don't promote crime, but you can literally see this dude climb out a 5-story window in just his skivvies and actually make it out. And that's kind of impressive. He wasn't like an athlete. This wasn't like, some rock star doing this. This was a moderately portly gentleman going out a window in his undies and actually evading capture. I'm not applauding it, but I appreciate it. Um, Travis Kelsey this week, has now become the all-time leader for touchdown receptions in the Kansas City Chiefs history. He has received 77 touchdown receptions and set a very high standard for himself. and for everybody else. Um, this past week, the film Bonhoeffer, the biopic on Dietrich Bonhoeffer, theologian, pastor, spy, assassin, uh, has officially hit streaming. And it got a surprising, to me at least, endorsement and promotion from actress, comedian, and neuroscientist Mayim Bialik, um, who is part of the neuroscience community. She didn't just play a neuroscientist on The Big Bang Theory. She actually is a neuroscientist. She's also B, of the Jewish faith. But the fact that she saw this movie and took the time to promote it, because of she stands behind it and thinks it's encouraging. And it was really neat to see Mayim Bialik heavily promoting the Bonhoeffer story. Um, so that's pretty cool. But I would highly recommend, if you have not got a chance yet, check out the Bonhoeffer film, which you can find streaming in the places. Um, and another thing I did not have on my 2024 bingo card, President-elect Trump made a bid this in just conversation in public declaration, um, offering to take over Canada. Um, and he offered the people of Canada a 60% tax cut if they agree to let Canada join the United States as the 51st state. Um, the president-elect has suggested a territorial expansion that would kind of take Greenland and Panama, and even suggested that the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, could just become the governor in a thing off. So I don't expect to see Canada become our 51st state, but that's a bold statement and declaration. This week in wrestling history and news, Rey Mysterio Sr. passed away at the age of 66. He is the uncle of Rey Mysterio Jr. and the great uncle of Dominic Mysterio, who's currently Rey Jr. and Dominic are both currently headliners in the WWE. Rey Mysterio was a Mexican wrestling legend, who kind of started that. Uh, in Baltimore, a uh, pizzeria that was on the verge of closing uh, received a $60,000 gift from Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, the One Bite Pizza Reviews as well. Um, they were 2 days away from closing. Portnoy stumbled across the pizzeria, I believe, on Christmas Eve, and they had flyers on the box saying they were going to close on Christmas if they couldn't get some stuff worked out. And Portnoy gifted them $60,000 to remain open for the year. So that's really cool. And now, since that story broke, these people's pizzeria has been busting at the seams. So good for him. Good for them. Um, Bad Bunny has announced the debut hit. Bad Bunny has announced his new album title. Uh, Yikes. I'm going to butcher this. Debí tirar más fotos. Let's say that's about right. It will be dropping on January 5th. So next Friday, Bad Bunny's new album will be releasing. Um, Again, stuff that I didn't know was coming and I don't know that we need. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are reuniting as a team to bring us a new Ocean's 11 movie, but it's going to be a prequel. So Ocean's 10 or 9, or I think there was an Ocean's 8, right? Wasn't that a thing too? But either way, it's going to be an Ocean's 11 prequel film, and it's going to star Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Uh, DCU has officially greenlit a second season of Creature Commandos. Not really surprising with that one. If you're a fan of Donkey Kong or the Nintendo Switch, the Donkey Kong Country Returns HD remake will be dropping on the Nintendo Switch on January 16th. Amazon has renewed its video game anthology series, Secret Level. I watched the entire season one of that this week. Highs and lows, and it was entertaining, to say the least. The Mega Man episode was really good. The final episode in the season was kind of brilliant. The Pac-Man episode was demented. Um, and some of it just came off like some good sci-fi, but there was Warhammer, there was Unreal Tournament. There's a lot of games in there. So if you're a video game person, this it's a chance to see some stuff you don't normally get to see. In video game news of stuff that's not happening, um, Dead Space, the original creators of Dead Space, pitched a Dead Space 4 to EA Games, and EA rejected the pitch. So there was a chance for a Dead Space 4 to come in the near future, and that idea got rejected. Do 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 do. Um, Alec Baldwin's legal drama and stuff that's been happening over the last 3 years from the movie Rust, the shooting that took place on set, is officially over. Um, he has been dropped, or all charges have been dropped. He has been cleared, and the prosecutors have withdrawn the appeal, which came just in time for him to be welcomed back to Saturday Night Live this past weekend for part of the Five Timers Club with Martin Short and a lot of other celebrities. So um, he was originally going to be playing President-elect Trump on SNL, but for this whole last political cycle, but they thought it was wise to leave him out of it due to this shooting. And now them welcoming him back this past Saturday was a way of saying all is clear. Do, 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 do. Um, Also, uh, on terms of the stuff with Justin Baldoni, going back to this for a second, Justin Baldoni has hired the crisis management team that Johnny Depp used when he was on trial and has hired the lawyers of the Menendez brothers. So that I just find that to be an interesting scenario. Um, and a weird thing you probably never saw coming, Macaulay Culkin returned to the world of Christmas entertainment this week in the least likely place you've ever expected him. And I've seen expected Macaulay Culkin in some weird Christmas scenarios. Macaulay Culkin returned this week in a cover video, a music video for a cover of Santa Baby performed by Kim Kardashian and produced by Travis Baker. So Kim Kardashian put out a cover of Santa Baby where she was doing some saucy things, and Macaulay Culkin was playing the Santa in her Santa Baby music video. So you can just live with that mental concept. And I'm sure you can find the video if you want to, but I'm just saying you could probably just live with the concept. I saw a clip of it on TikTok. Um, this past week in Colorado, a ornate and antique baby Jesus statue was stolen from a nativity just days before Christmas. And then within a day or so, the statue was returned with a note taped to baby Jesus's face that says, "I am really sorry. I made a dumb mistake in the moment. It won't happen again." Um, Somebody prayed for that man. You returned baby Jesus. Um, so that is a thing. Jay-Z this week got blasted by the judge that he faced in terms of his uh, defense for his allegations of assault along with P. Diddy. And the judge basically blasted him for being a diva and wanting special treatment. And the judge also ruled this week that the accuser for Diddy and Jay-Z can remain anonymous through the process because Diddy wanted her, not sorry, Diddy, Jay-Z wanted her to be brought out publicly, and the judge says no, you don't have to do that. A 50,000-year-old baby mammoth was found in Siberia, and it's almost a fully complete carcass. So they managed to find an almost completely intact baby mammoth that they're estimating to be at 50,000 years old. That's kind of cool. Author James Patterson, who has been churning out books like I churn out memes, um, decided to bless and encourage local bookstores this week, where he went into um, local bookstores all throughout different areas and gave an employee in local bookstores $500 bonuses. So if you worked in a local bookstore, James Patterson just rolled in and gave you a $500 bonus to say thank you for working. And he gave out hundreds of employees $500 bonuses. So thank you to James Patterson for that. Covered that already. Do, 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 do. Also, in magnanimous acts of charity, this week Tom Hardy offered to pay $300,000 um, in wages for the crew working on his new Apple Plus or Paramount Plus TV series, The Fixer, which is a Guy Ritchie project. Um, but Paramount paid a construction company to build sets. The construction company sent contractors to build the sets. The contractors built the sets. During the process of the contractors building the sets, the company that hired them went out of business, went bankrupt, and said all the money that Paramount had already given them was gone and they couldn't pay them for all the work they had already done. So Tom Hardy paid for the sets for his series out of pocket, even though Paramount had already paid for them, just so that the workers did not go home empty handed. Um, Tom Hardy's a classy guy. Once upon a time, at the premiere for Venom 1, he came to Fayetteville, which is my nearest town, and attended a premiere at a tiny theater called the Cameo, and then hung out the whole next day uh, doing martial arts and visiting veterans and stuff in the Fayetteville area. So that's a pretty neat thing. So yeah, him or Tom Hardy just dropping 300 grand to bless people that got bamboozled. So way to go, dude. Um, President Biden spared the lives of 37 of the 40 individuals on federal death row um, this week, and that's leaving all but three of them off on death row. Do, 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 do. Denzel, da, 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 Bonhoeffer. Um, this week in local horrible news, a McDonald's in Fayetteville, North Carolina, um, is the center of a story of violence where a McDonald's employee shot a door dasher after they got into an altercation in the process of picking up food. Um, Kevin J. Holland, who's 25, who worked at the Fayetteville McDonald's, um, yeah, shot a door dasher because they got into an argument. Um, and that's horrible. Let's see. A young man named Thomas Connolly um, saved the life of a young boy named Isaiah Rodriguez in elementary school this week in Arizona. Thomas Conley recognized that Isaiah was choking, could not get a adult's attention fast enough, and so he just pulled the Heimlich out and pulled the Heimlich on his like table neighbor Isaiah and saved his life. Local fire department came and honored him with a certificate for heroic actions. So congratulations, Thomas Connolly. And glad you're alive, Isaiah Rodriguez. Um, there was a terrorist attack in Germany this week as a man drove a fully loaded vehicle into a large crowd at a Christmas gathering on the street in Germany. Um, One person was killed, 70 people were injured. Um, and the dude who did it was Dr. Taleb Al Abdul Mohsen. He's 50 years old and he's being held on murder charges. Um, and the tally went up. He killed 5 people and injured 200 as the numbers went on throughout the week. So uh, this man ended up in this act of terrorism, uh, killing 5 and injuring 200. And another crazy German story this week. A German woman was sentenced to life in prison after she murdered her own lookalike so that she could fake her own death. Um, a 25-year-old beautician, uh, Shaharban K, and her accomplice killed a beauty blogger named Khadija O, who was 23, by luring her into the car for the promise of free beauty treatment. So this woman literally found a blogger that looked like her, offered her free beauty treatment, and killed her so that she could fake her own death and leave. That plan obviously didn't work out, and she is now sentenced to life in prison. Um, Olympic snowboarder this week, Sophie Heidegger died. She's age 26, in an avalanche in the Swiss Alps. Um, that's tragic. Um, in Lakeville, Massachusetts, um, an Amazon driver who was stressed out and frustrated, um, dumped, how many crates was it? Dumped a large number of let's see, 8 packages, 8 large crates of packages into the woods because he got too stressed out with all the deliveries. So if you're in the Boston area and you are missing some packages, that might be why. Yeah. This past just a couple days ago on Christmas, someone put in a bid to buy the house from Home Alone for $5 million. So if you wanted to be in Kevin's house, you now have the chance. My friend Ashley, that runs Fangirling Over Jesus, today, December 27th, is her 5-year anniversary of running Fangirling Over Jesus. So, congratulations, Ashley, and the impact you've had on the fashion and nerd and Jesus community. And a bit of news that literally is like a swift kick to the throat for me: the upcoming sequel to The Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman film, has been delayed 1 year, and The Batman Part 2 will now release on October 1st, 2027. October 1st, 2027. 2.5 years from now, we'll get The Batman 2. 5 years from the release of the original film. There's a reboot of White Collar that will be heading back to TV with the original cast of Jeff Easton, Matt Bomer, Tim DeKay, and Tiffany Thiessen. Tiffany Amber Thiessen will be returning to TV. And yeah, that's about all the news I've got for the week. I want to take a moment though and go do our roll for initiative Bible reading. And let's do that real quick. Um, oh, but I hope y'all have had a Merry Christmas. I hope it's been good for you. And I know it's one of the things that people say so often is it's like it feels less like Christmas every time, like every year, people say that. And I heard my 14-year-old say it this year. And I was sad that she was already feeling it at this point as well, but I also can't blame her. It does feel like that sometimes. So we're gonna roll four dice, three d20s, and a d10 to see what we're reading this week. So, all right, let's see what we got. We got a 10 plus a 2 plus 10 plus 4 equals 26 minus 4 is 22. So we are going to hop into the 22nd book of the Bible. Oh, let's see. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Song of Songs. Yay. We're gonna get some romance. 8:45 is this. This is gonna get fun. Because if you've ever wanted me to read you the Song of Solomon, by golly, you're gonna get your chance. So no one ever. So we've got one chapter, two chapter, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 chapters in Song of Solomon. So let's see what we're reading. There's a D8 in here somewhere. It's this guy. All right. Rolling a D8 to see what we're reading out of the Song of Solomon. And it is a 2. So we are reading Song of Solomon, chapter 2. All right. Oh boy. This is going to be fun. They say all scripture is profitable for teaching and doctrine, including the awkward romancy bits. So here we go. Song of Solomon, chapter 2. I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of valleys. Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the young women. And there's like a little he and a she thing separating this. So he was the first one, or she was the first one, he was the second one. Here's the she. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my beloved among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. Let him lead me to the banquet hall, and let his banner over me be love. Okay, so just talk about the context of this real quick. Um, when she's saying, "Let him lead me to the banquet hall, let his banner over me be love," um, she's saying, "Let's go and fully taste and enjoy each other," like all the things of that nature. What's crazy is if you grew up in any kind of VBS scenario, if you grew up in any kind of church, summer camp, or anything like that, you probably sang this kid's song. He brought me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. That's 1,000% out of context. That's 1,000% out of context because that is not talking about God. That is not talking about God's mercy and grace. That is literally talking about adult sensual things. Um, and little kids don't need to go into anybody's banquet table. So if you happen to be over a church, a youth ministry, a VBS, anything like, don't sing that song. That is out of context, y'all. Holy cow. Um, Um, yeah. Verse 5, strengthen me with raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. He let his left arm is under my head, his right arm embraces me. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and the does of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. So I am going to hit this one because I think this is ridiculously important. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Because I think that's one of the things we do the worst relationally, societally, and things is we awaken things in people we can't deal with. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. If you can't fully cash in and follow through with what you start with somebody, don't do it. Don't do it just because it's not beneficial for you, them, or anybody else. And I know y'all probably aren't listening like, man, I didn't tune into your little news podcast to get lectured on purity or sexual things or anything like that. And that's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying one of the reasons why we're so easily distracted and struggling is because there's a lot more awoken that can actually be dealt with our whole society and our whole world. And as there's an Outcast lyric in Bombs Over Baghdad that iterates this. And I'm a oh yeah, but do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Verse 8 says, listen, my beloved, look here. Look, here he comes, leaping across the mountain, bounding over the hills. My beloved is a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands beside our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. First of all, that sounds creepy. Um, Verse 10 says, my beloved spoke and said to me, arise, my darling, my beautiful one, and come with me. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. I like that. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. That's got kind of a Narnia vibe too. Um, Flowers appear on earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. My dove in the clefts of a rock. My dove in the clefts of the rock. In the hiding places on the mountainside, show me your face. Let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. Oh, that's nice. Catch For your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. Catch for us foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom. Okay. Um, there is a TV series. You know what? I'm gonna bypass that. This we don't need to go in discussion on this. Um, but that has a reference and maybe a huge plot point to a certain dramatic TV show that's on Amazon involving a minister. Um, but I'll make a little note here for me. Do anyway. Verse 16, my beloved is mine and I am his. He browses among the lilies until the day breaks and the shadows flee. Turn my beloved like a gazelle or like a young stag on the rugged hills. Man, these dice rolls be putting me on some scripture I didn't ever plan to read on a microphone. But either way, I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. I hope y'all have a good end to your year and a good start to your new year. This is officially means we've made it through every Friday in the entire year of 2024. So let's take a moment and celebrate that. I think that's worth acknowledging and worth being excited about. So I appreciate y'all that have stuck with this and who listen to this or watch this later. And because normally it's early morning, but tonight's a late night, and I know that's weird too. Um, but I appreciate y'all joining with us and for being just a part of everything with it. So thank you. Um, I'm assuming we're going to keep doing this every Friday for the foreseeable future as well. Um, let you know of a couple things coming up. Next week, I will be the speaker at Camp Tapawingo in near Johnson City, Tennessee. I will be the speaker for a treat they're having. So that's coming up. Um, in February, Valentine's Day weekend, I will be set up at the Carolina Christian Youth Conference in Greensboro, North Carolina. And the last weekend in February, I will be at what's it called? Captain's Comics Expo in Charleston, South Carolina. So lots of cool opportunities coming up. Oh, and the first weekend in February, the first Friday in February, I will be doing a poetry event as well. Before I bounce out of here, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for all that y'all have done and are doing. Um, and yeah, so Dorothy, Martin Winston, Michelle Stewart, Lynn Turner, uh, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, Matthew Coleman. I'm sorry, the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, Adam Davis. Thank you all for the way that you give and that you support and that you encourage. And I truly, truly appreciate y'all. And this is something I posted on Facebook, but I want to show y'all one more time since I got you on the live if you're watching this. Um, my youngest daughter had a custom Pokemon card made of me with Snorlax. And, it's got the actual Pokemon backing and everything else. It's pretty cool. And so I'm going to treasure this. I'm going to put this in a neat little case. But she also, yeah, uh, Carl says it's the Friday evening main event. Um, she also got me a bunch of these printed so that I can give out at cons and stuff. So I'll have some of these at events moving forward. Um, I'm pretty excited about that too, while supplies last. Um, just because that's a really cool gift and that's very creative. Um, and I appreciate that. So thank y'all for loving, for supporting, for being encouraging. And you all have, I hope you have had a great Christmas, and I hope you have a great new year moving forward. And I look forward to the little bits of it I get to be involved in. So thank y'all for being a part of it, and hope y'all have a great night.